The Explore New England podcast.
What's up, folks? Welcome back. Explore New England podcast, episode 3, coming at you. It's a dreary, cloudy day in New England.
Yeah, the last 3 days we've had nothing but rain and clouds.
Almost like we're living in England here. Real England.
I think we're starting to see maybe a little break in the clouds, so maybe we'll get to see a little touch of sunshine today, but I don't know.
Hey, what are you gonna do? This is New England, right? We grew up here. We know exactly what it's all about.
Yep, rain 1 minute, snow the next, 60-degree days. I mean, how crazy is it that one day it's 60 degrees and then we have snow the next day?
I was just gonna say, yeah, 60-degree weekend we had. Isn't that crazy?
And then snow.
Yeah, and then a snowstorm coming tomorrow, I think, so.
We had one last week. Welcome to New England.
Absolutely. All right, so today we have a very exciting episode for you. We actually have Deb Vickers from DLH Paranormal. She's a longtime paranormal investigator, and we sat down with her and we had a really cool conversation. And she's actually going to be one of our reoccurring guests that you hear on the show. You know, check out our first really cool interview that we did with her. She's going to explain some stories, some cases that she's worked on, and she's going to discuss some new projects that she's working on now. So she's actually been included on some shows like Kindred Spirits and some other paranormal shows on the Travel Channel. So it was really cool to sit down with Deb and actually, you know, pick her brain about some stuff. And if you guys want to get introduced to Deb Vickers before you listen to the interview, you can actually go back and check out one of our, I think it was our third video that we did.
Yeah.
It's called DLH Paranormal, True Stories from a Paranormal Investigator. Please forgive the audio. It was one of our first videos, so
we were
the audio,
still learning.
Yeah, and the audio wasn't that good. So, you know, she definitely gives a lot of stories about some of the cases that she's worked on.
We also included some really, really wonderful EVPs on that video that you can go and listen to. So fun stuff on there for sure.
In this episode, she actually talked about one of those cases where one of the EVPs that they captured was actually of a 12-year-old boy. You can actually listen to that EVP on that first video that we did. Again, just go to our video section on YouTube, and I think it's the third or fourth video that we ever did.
I also just want to throw in there, totally off subject, but where did the month of December go? I can't believe that Thanksgiving has already come and passed, and now we're very, very close to coming up on the holidays and Christmas, and where did the time go?
Isn't that incredible?
It is. I feel like, you know, that's why there are so many last-minute shoppers, including ourselves, because you don't realize how fast it sneaks up on you. You just feel like you have all of this time, and you're like, oh, it's fine. I've got a whole month. You know, you're thinking after Thanksgiving, I got plenty of time to get ready. And then before you know it, you look at the calendar and you're like, oh my goodness.
I know. It's really amazing how time flies by.
Where did the month go? Do we have any other last minute shoppers out there? Let me know in the comments below. I'm sure there are plenty of other people out there like us who are gonna be scrambling on the last minute to get everything done, because there just is not enough time.
I feel like, it doesn't matter how early you start. I still think that you're still rushing around last minute because, you know, different kind of gifts come out at the last minute. You know, these stores and, you know, these companies purposely put it out at the last minute for you to go crazy, you know?
That is the absolute truth. You know, this year I really, really thought I was doing good. I thought we had a handle on it. We started back in October, and I thought, this is wonderful. I was already buying Christmas gifts in October. I thought, there's no way I'm going to be last minute again this year. But here I am, still thinking, okay, I still have a handful of stuff that I need to buy, like a good amount, and we're getting to the deadline. So still, even starting in October, we're still going to be last minute shoppers.
Do you guys celebrate Christmas, or do you celebrate Hanukkah? Let us know in the comments below what you celebrate during this time.
Yeah, we'd love to know like your family traditions, what you guys do, all that kinds of fun stuff.
And we got some big news this week from Explore New England.
Yes,
well,
we did.
We got big news on a couple of fronts, but on the Explore New England side of it, we were actually featured in the 2020 Lincoln, Rhode Island Town Calendar, which is very, very exciting for us. Our photography was used for the front cover and for the month of March and November of 2020. So really exciting stuff. That's something that we're getting more and more into, is doing the town calendars for different towns of New England. I think that, we bring a certain kind of flavor, the Explore New England flavor, if you will, to these calendars. So that was really cool. So if you're from the area of Lincoln, Rhode Island, if you're listening right now, and make sure you go pick up a copy of the 2020 town calendar for Lincoln, Rhode Island. They're absolutely free. You can pick them up at the town hall or, some of the convenience stores in the area. So definitely check it out. You know, we're very proud of our work. It's very exciting to have your work shown.
Yeah, we were really excited. It's
Yeah.
really fun to be able to see it, somewhere out there where other people are going to get to really enjoy it as well.
So it's definitely really cool to have our work shown to a larger audience. It makes us very proud of the work that we've done. And again, without you guys' support, we would never be able to do the things that we have been doing. We've been featured on The List, which is a nationally syndicated Emmy Award-winning show on Court TV and on social media. I believe the work that we did at the Lizzie Borden House was shown on The List. The good people at Wicked Local Rhode Island, which is a Facebook page, very popular Facebook page, and they're all over social media. They showcase some of our work that we did at the Abandoned Enchanted Forest theme park. So, we wouldn't be able to do any of this without, your support, and we really appreciate you so very much. We're just truly blessed.
Yeah, we really, truly are. We can't thank you guys enough. It's so rewarding to see people enjoy our work and, for people to see it. It means a lot for us. We put a lot of hard work into it, and we're just really happy that there are people out there who actually enjoy it,
Absolutely.
As much as we do. So, again, thank you guys so much.
So it was really cool to get these calendars out there right before the holidays. And but yeah, you're right. The holiday time definitely flew by.
It did. I can't believe it. To bring you back a little bit, too, I just want to tell you guys a funny story. I've had this in my mind that I've been dying to tell you. It was so funny on Thanksgiving. So I feel like we had a Thanksgiving rescue, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would definitely say so.
So what ended up happening was your mom had bought turkey breast to cook this year instead of a whole turkey, which she normally does. So she's more familiar with the turkey. You know how you get the drippings to make the gravy. So from buying the turkey breast, she called you up and said, "Oh no, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have any drippings to make the gravy." And we were planning on going over there after we ate at my house. Well, I just happened at that time, she called you maybe 10 minutes before we took the turkey out of our oven. And I looked and we cooked a whole turkey. So there was all these turkey drippings, and my mom wasn't planning on using them to make gravy. So I went light bulb, and I said to her, I was like, I have to get these. We have to save all of this. So I ended up taking them all, and we put them in a Tupperware container, and we told your mom about it. She was like thrilled. So it was so funny because when we were on the way there, we had the Tupperware container, we had it all secure and safe. We felt like we were on like a rescue mission, like we should have had a light on top of our car, like woo, trying to get the turkey gravy there to save Thanksgiving.
It was almost like delivering like a frozen kidney to the hospital to save someone's life.
Right? We had it
we had turkey drippings.
We had it so secure. We were like, we got to get there safe. We got to get it there.
Flying down I-95 with turkey drippings.
Turkey drippings to save Thanksgiving. But long story short, we made it, and we had wonderful turkey gravy from it. So
that was a pretty funny day.
It really was. We had a great time. We hope you all did as well. But
yeah, I was just going to say that. Yep.
Yeah, it was really just a funny story that I had in my mind. I was like, I have to tell you guys. It was too funny.
So how about any of you? Did you have any Thanksgiving mishaps that you might want to, let us know about? Let us know in the comments below, as always. And, we thought that whole emergency turkey dripping situation was quite funny that day.
It really, really was. So I'd love to hear if you guys had any mishaps or anything that happened. They're always fun to laugh at after the fact,
This year I really can't wait to, we haven't done it yet, but just drive around the neighborhoods and see everybody's Christmas lights.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of our favorite things to do, too, is just driving around the neighborhoods. And, some people really put a lot of time and effort into their decorations for Christmas or for any holiday, really. So that's going to be a real fun thing to do. And we're hoping that we can actually put together a nice episode and show everybody what people got going on for the holidays here.
Yeah, I've seen some really cool ones where they actually have radio stations that you tune into, and the lights on their houses will actually go to the music and everything.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty extreme things. So hopefully within the next week, we're going to grab some hot chocolate and hit the road and see what we can find. So that's going to be fun.
All right, so I think that's enough of us tooting our own horn and us chatting away. And I think it's time to listen to the chatting away of one Deb Vickers. She's a longtime paranormal investigator, folks. She's been on the popular travel channel show Kindred Spirits. She's also been seen on The Road Show, which is a local TV show in Rhode Island. Her and her team, DLH Paranormal, has been featured on Channel 10 News and had cover stories in the Providence Journal and the Valley Breeze. And if that wasn't enough, folks, she's a tour guide at the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast. Deb, you got a lot of accomplishments, and I really appreciate you being on the show today. Thank you very much. Deb, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good, very good.
Awesome. I love your Christmas tree.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
These two love Christmas. You guys love Christmas more than anybody I know.
We sure do.
Absolutely.
Right now we're sitting around relaxing, looking at the beautiful Christmas tree.
Having a little fireball and
Just
a nice
relaxing.
chat on your Christmas tree.
That's what it's all about.
I love it.
And for anyone who doesn't know, Deb is Heather's mother. So Deb, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into the paranormal?
We were always pretty independent for the most part. It was my daughters that got me interested, Heather and Laura. And I mean, I had always had a fascination with it, though, from the time I was young. Laura, actually, I think Heather had explained this once before, but of course, Laura read all the books and watched all the shows. And then they got me watching all the shows and reading all the books. And then it was just so much fun because we had our little ghost hunting book with all the locations, and we would do our road trips.
That's a really cool book.
Yes.
That's that was our favorite book.
That was our Bible, basically. And it was fun because we would pack the car up, we'd have tons of snacks and just go off. And it was so interesting because we would never know what was going to happen. And then we'd come upon a location that we thought would have activity, and it was amazing the things that would happen.
Well, even then, we weren't even using equipment back then. We were just going on our own feelings and stuff because this is before we really got into it.
Yeah.
So that was just showing up at a place and just being open to it just to see what would happen.
Yeah. It was just so much fun. And it was just back then, too, it was just the thrill of being there in a haunted location.
It really
Right, of
was.
It was fun, It just was really a lot of fun. And then it just somehow blossomed from there.
Grew into what it is, yeah. It's funny how those things just kind of take off on their own. It was just like one little passion, how that started us to where we are now. And everything that we've done, like if you look back on how far like we all have come, not only learning in the paranormal, but the cases that we've worked on, even just like the fun stuff that we got to do. Like we were on a couple TV shows. You were on a couple TV shows yourself. We did like newspaper articles, like really fun stuff that we got to do together. I just love that it blossomed into that.
Yeah, it's funny because whenever you listen to Spirit, they always lead you in the right direction.
Yes.
And I just came into my head, DLH Paranormal. That's who we're going to be, and this is what we're going to do. I don't know where it came from. I believe it came from Spirit. And whenever you follow that route, everything always just seems to fall into place.
Right.
I can't explain it, but it just, when you do that, everything that's supposed to be happens. So
Heather and I were just talking about that the other day. Kind of like whenever you have a paranormal situation, you never really know what's going on until after the fact. And then you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yes.
And you kind of like, the story tells itself, but it tells it backwards.
Yes, because
And
you
then-
have to go at the end and look at everything that
Right.
happened to put it together.
And then you're like, okay, now I see why this happened. Now I see why that happened.
that's what I always say when we do house cases. It's putting a puzzle together.
Yes.
It's taking all the little pieces and putting them together before you can come to a conclusion. But sometimes you never do. There's just some mysteries that will never be solved, and that's one of the most frustrating things for me when I do house cases is when I can't figure out what the root cause of all this is, or I can't figure out how to fix it.
Exactly.
But sometimes there's things that we're not meant to know, I feel.
Right.
I've had cases where I went in and all those little pieces fit together perfectly and everything was solved, so to speak. But then I have others that I've worked on for years
That are mysteries.
that are still mysteries. Because that's the other thing with DLH. We really care about our clients. We don't just go in to investigate. Like, I think of it as seriously, I think of it as work when we go in.
Yeah.
Because we're there to help these people. And that's like my main mission. So we get really attached to our clients. And, years later, we're still like family with a lot of these people. And a lot of these people we still work with after a couple of years because they still have things going on. We don't just go in and investigate and leave. We really take our time with our families because they mean a lot to us. They really do. So I feel like, that's an important aspect as well.
It really is. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people who do just go in and that's what they're looking to do is just investigate. And that's, that's their prerogative. That's not what we're about. We have a different, let's say mission statement. We're in to really help these people. And we wouldn't just leave them hanging.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's just, these are families and a lot of them have children and
They're scared. They don't
they're
know who else to
scared.
turn to.
They're devastated and they don't know what to do. And some of these are serious hauntings.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I mean, dangerous, really, if you think about it. Some
Yeah.
of the ones that we've done.
Oh, they really have
And
been,
some
yeah.
really negative spirits.
Yeah, that's what you have to watch out for, the real negative spirits. Yeah.
So protection, we always make sure that we protect ourselves. That's one of the things that I don't think we did way back when we were just going
we
off.
were just learning.
'Cause
We had a lot of mishaps because of that.
I look back now and I say, oh my gosh, we didn't protect ourselves.
We were
just
vulnerable and we didn't even know it.
We didn't even know it. We didn't even think of it. You know, I can remember us, we would just go off and some of these locations were pretty bad.
Yeah, they were.
You know, negative wise. And we would just go off, blah, 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 la-di-da, because, you know, we were younger and we didn't know any better.
I can see it in my head now. La-di-da-di-da-di-da. Totally oblivious.
Yeah, you know, I mean.
To protection and all that.
Remember we did that, I always thought this was just the neatest story. When we went to that cemetery where the old haunted house had been, and they had taken it down and put up a business. Well, that house was infamous. People used to call it the Amityville house, and even the police knew about the things that went on there. And the cemetery itself had a lot of activity, so we went there actually numerous times. And one day we went back and I said, I'm gonna go in the business and see if I can get some information. And I remember you guys you refused to go with me. I'm like, thanks a lot, girls. Send your poor mother off into this weird.
I think I remember that. We were embarrassed. We're like, you can go in and ask about the haunted house.
You know, and I was going a while and I'm like, I wonder if they're worried about me.
But, we were just walking around the cemetery.
Yeah. But I pretended I needed directions. The lady in there was so nice. She goes, that house, she said, look, I have a picture of it. And I thought it was odd that she had a picture of it right on her desk.
That is weird.
Yeah,
right?
Certainly is.
And I had always wanted to see the house, so I was really excited.
Because this building was where the house was, right? They tore the house down and built this business there.
And the cemetery was still there?
Yeah, it was right next door to it.
And she said, when we went to get the permits to put this building up, that house was actually listed at town hall as a haunted house.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I didn't even know they could do that.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that either. But it was funny because when the house was up, again, this was one of our little excursions way back when. The first time we went there, it was nighttime.
Yep.
Now nighttime ghost hunting, that's really scary. Nighttime road trip.
Yes.
So we took off when we went to where the house was. But when we got there, it was an empty lot. They had already taken the house down.
Oh, was this the time that you had gotten the goosebumps and your hair stood up straight? I will never forget that. We finally found the address, right? And we pulled up to it. I didn't know this could happen to a person. I really didn't. We pulled up to the house and we parked at it and we were looking out into the empty lot where it was. And then you said, ooh, I'm so creeped out. I got the chills. And all of a sudden I looked and your hair was standing up straight. I'm not even kidding. Like she looked like straight up. I was like, your hair is standing up. You're like, I told you I was creeped out. I got goosebumps everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so funny. I'll never forget that.
But one of the things I noticed that night, even though it was dark, was the cemetery on the property. And I'm like, I bet you that's what's causing it all. And then we went back. It had to have been, 3-4 years later, maybe more.
Yeah.
I said, I always wanted to go back. I filed it in my memory and I said, I got to go back and investigate that cemetery. And we did. And it was just absolutely amazingly active. There's a child there. If you go to our website, DLH Paranormal, you will hear this little boy say, we were both 12.
I think that's one of the best EVPs we've ever gotten.
That's the best I've ever gotten.
Yeah, actually, and if you go to, it's one of our first videos that we ever did. The title of the video is DLH Paranormal, True Stories from a Paranormal Investigator. And that's when we actually had a sit-down interview with Deb, and she actually tells that story, and you can actually hear and listen to that EVP recording. So if you haven't heard it yet, definitely check out that video because it's one of the coolest EVPs I ever heard.
It's amazing. And then on that video, too, you also talked about one of the most scariest cases that we ever worked on when we first started working in the paranormal field as well. So you guys are going to want to hear that. That was a really creepy story. So make sure you check that out.
That was one of the creepiest, I think, for me. Mm-hmm. That one really got to me.
Yeah, you guys got to hear that one. It's really creepy.
Now, I feel that cemeteries are the place where a lot of negative spirits can possibly dwell. That's how my brother and I started out. Again, our first investigation was at a cemetery, and it was just the feeling there just wasn't good. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of negativity, swirling in the air that I can feel. So I feel that you never know what you're going to get at a cemetery too.
Exactly.
You don't know what's lurking behind the stones there. I always say that because it's true. You could be picking up something very, very dangerous there that you don't even know about.
But now we all know to protect ourselves.
Right.
So now we're in a little bit better place. we can go home and nothing's gonna. Well, sometimes things do still follow us. Sometimes as hard as we try, they still.
happens.
You get tag-alongs.
We try to
But-
remember so hard every time we go someplace to say, you can't follow us back home. And there's been times when we left and we said, oh no, we didn't say
Yeah,
it. As hard as you try, there are still times, but we try to be really careful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually really excited to have you here to be able to tell a story, because I was too young to remember this, but just the other day I was thinking about it and I was excited to have you tell it. So way, way back before the paranormal was even a thought to us, without us even knowing, the paranormal was involved in our lives. Do you want to tell them the story about what happened to me when I was a baby?
Yeah, this was pretty cool. So we rented this little house when the girls were small. I just loved this little house. It was small, it had 3 bedrooms, and then the girls' bedrooms were upstairs, and then ours was downstairs, and we had the open living room, dining room, tiny little kitchen. It was in an unusual spot because it was right across the street from the railroad tracks. So you had the Amtraks that would go by, and literally like the whole house would shake when it went by, but we got so used to it, it was like nothing. And then you'd have the little old-fashioned trains that would go by occasionally. So it was interesting, and it was fun. I would sit on the front porch and where did that accent come from? And I would watch the trains go by. It was really odd because Heather was little, and I think she was still in her crib. I can't remember how old you were, but I
must have been young because I don't really remember this much.
I think you were still in your crib. And you used to tell me about this little boy. And you used to say, Mommy, he has no legs. And you used to see him all the time.
That's so
and
crazy.
I never figured out who...
I'm getting goosebumps just listening to
Right?
this.
Yeah, like I never figured out who he was. And I don't remember too well, but I think that we had a few little occurrences that would happen off and on at the house. Pictures would fall, and it wasn't when a train was going by. The pictures would fall, and I always figured it was him, and I felt as though he was harmless. And then I went to a psychic medium. My friend was having one of those parties, and I went, and he said that he thought that it was a little boy who had gotten his legs cut off on the train tracks.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And that's probably who you were seeing. And I felt so bad when we moved because I didn't want to leave him behind. And I told him, I said, honey, if you can come with us, please follow us. And, in that case, I really wanted him. I didn't want to leave him. But I don't think he followed us. And I felt really badly about leaving him behind. But
You probably couldn't. Maybe he was
Yes,
attached to that
location.
yeah.
I felt terrible. But I feel like it's funny. Spirit sometimes really touches your life. There's certain ones that really touch my heart.
And that one,
he
like,
was
we'll
one
never
of
forget
them.
that to this day. Like, I don't remember it actually happening to me, but I'll
You
never
were so
forget the
little.
story. Yeah, exactly. And he must have been, friendly because I was never scared, right? I used to just tell you
No.
that I would see him and I would talk to
Yeah.
him, but I
Yeah.
was never scared.
Wow.
No, you never seemed afraid of him or anything. So, yeah, I guess it started way back when for us. We never really gave it much of a thought.
It's, again, putting the story backwards.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
So, even back
Yep.
then, I was sensitive to, like, seeing and
To
hearing
spirit.
spirits. Yeah.
Well, it goes back to how you guys started out doing your investigations. You said you barely had any equipment. You were just going off your feelings.
Exactly.
So you guys were learning about your empathic
Exactly, yeah.
feelings as well,
We both definitely have a lot of empathic qualities. You do as well.
I do, yeah.
You've been learning over them over the years. But
More and more I learn, yeah.
it's really a fascinating thing,
It really is.
And the more you learn about it, the more you can actually harness it. So it's pretty interesting.
It can be helpful.
Oh, yeah, of course,
Because
especially when you're doing
You
paranormal.
can sense not only from other people, but you can sense things from spirit as well. So it's a nice gift. It can be annoying if you don't know how to handle it because you're absorbing so much energy.
Yep.
It can be draining. You have to block yourself to a point.
So Deb, when you go into a house of some case that you're doing, can you feel, since you're empathic, can you feel whether before you even do any recordings or any other kind of investigating, can you feel that the spirit might be a negative spirit or a positive spirit?
You can kind of feel the energy. It feels heavy if you go in and it's something like just like when you walk into someone's house and you know they don't want you there. It's
Yeah.
the same feeling with
Right.
a negative spirit.
Right.
You can feel it, and you can feel the energy, and you can tell usually if the house has activity. I always can tell. I always know right
Oh
away.
yeah, you can usually tell right away from walking in.
Yeah, and my head will tingle if I'm in an area where there's a lot of activity.
Yep.
I'll usually, that's one of my little indicators, is that my head will tingle. So I can usually tell.
I usually get headaches a lot. I've noticed like sharp pains in my head. I notice that's like
Really?
yeah, that's one of my triggers.
Yeah, we
It
all
hasn't
have,
happened in a while because we haven't dealt with anything like really
Right.
negative, but
Right.
in a while. But
everybody has their little triggers that
yeah,
set them off, you know, and your little indicators that you know.
Yeah, I'm still learning about mine, but it's interesting, you
it
know.
really is. Yeah. Speaking of energy work too, because this kind of goes hand in hand with feeling energies. You are actually working towards becoming a Reiki master as well, aren't you?
Yes, I have my Reiki 2 certification, and that is just, oh, it's such an amazing field. It's, as an empath, our natural ability is to want to heal. So I think that's why I was drawn to it, because I don't know why, I just always felt really strongly that I needed to do it. And
You've
of
talked
course,
about it for
for
years.
so long now.
Yeah.
And because I would like to heal people, but also I was hoping that it would open me up more to spirit, because usually once you start to do the Reiki is when your gifts get stronger and all your gifts start to come out more and more. And it's amazing. It has opened me up to spirit more. I can't even imagine when I become a Reiki master what a difference that's going to be.
I can't
And the
imagine.
healing, the
Yeah.
healing is just, it's a whole different energy. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's, oh my God, it is this amazing energy. Like my hands tingle almost 24/7, especially if I'm around someone that really needs healing. Like
Interesting.
My friend Sue, I kept seeing this black sludge in her in 2 spots, and I kept saying to her, I think it's stuck in your stomach area because the energy can't flow, but I could see it. So I was on my way to Lizzie's today, and I was picturing it in her, and I said, I'm going to do Reiki on her today when I get there. So I told her, I said, so you still have that sludge in there, and it's blocking that energy in your stomach. And she said, that's so weird that you said that. She said, because I been having MRIs because I've been having stomach issues.
Wow.
I said, all right, so let's do the Reiki.
That's amazing.
And you were able to feel
I
that.
was,
yeah.
and it was funny because I just knew it. Like intuition, I just knew it, what
That's
I
one of the
needed to
things
do
being
for her.
open, yeah.
And then it's so odd because I just started to working on her and I knew what to do. I channeled that energy down and I knew what to do automatically to fix her.
Wow.
So it's amazing.
I can only imagine how much more it's going to be when you get, to the final level, because you've done Reiki on both of us, and it was amazing.
It was,
Oh,
yeah.
it was the craziest thing. I could actually just really feel the heat coming off of your hands. I started like twitching and like tingling while you were doing it. It was absolutely insane, and I felt so much better after you did it. You did as well, didn't you?
Absolutely, yeah. Actually, when you were, I'm not sure exactly what you were doing, because I don't really understand all of the Reiki stuff, but
Yeah.
when you had your hands above my knee or my ankle, I think my foot was twitching or my knee was twitching. So right when you were in that area, and you weren't even touching me, so that energy is real, and it's amazing.
It is,
because
the
you
same
feel
thing.
cleared.
Yeah, you do. That's
know?
how I felt, so much lighter.
Yeah.
And the same thing was happening. I was twitching and tingling, and I could really feel the heat coming off of your hands. It was like the healing energy. It's absolutely amazing.
It was great.
I'm excited for you to become the Reiki master.
I am too.
That's
It
really
just,
cool.
I mean, you have to adjust to the energies though, which is why they do it in increments. So the first one was pretty strong, but she told us, she said, just practice on your family and your pets. And once I took the second one, I understood why. Because when you get the Reiki 2, it's totally different because you're really feeling those other people's energies so strong.
Oh, I can
That's a
imagine.
big thing to get used to. Like
Now, how
when
do
I
you-
my family, I'm already used to your energy.
Right.
But these are people that I'm not used to dealing with their energy.
Your energies.
So
What do you do with that energy? Like,
It's-
are you able to block it? Like, are you able to
Well-
absorb it from them and then block it from yourself, or?
Well, what happened to me was was our busy season at Lizzie's. So I'd have like 25 people on a tour. and they're all standing within close proximity staring at me. The energy was so much. I was having trouble trying to block it because I was feeling it all in one big giant batch.
Yeah.
And I kept getting dizzy and thinking I was going to pass out.
Oh, my
It
goodness.
was terrifying for me.
And that was
I
right after
said-
you had the Reiki
That
too.
was right after
because
I
it
got my
opened you up to feel other people's energies now. Wow.
It was insane. So I grabbed my clear quartz. It was the only thing I could think to do. And that seemed to help to ground me a little bit better. And then I talk with my hands. So I found if I took my hands and pretending I was talking with my hands and I pushed the energy back,
Yep.
it looked like I was just talking with my hands, but I was pushing the energy back. That helped. So that was tough for like that month was really difficult for me. Now I'm starting to get used to it, or I would walk into work and I'd be, oh my gosh, the energy in here. But it was scary because for me, my head would be spinning and I'd feel like I was
That's how
going to
you
pass
would
out.
feel it. Yeah.
It was just so much. And then I understood, now I know why we had to do it in increments. And now I know why she only had us work on family members to begin with.
Because you're used to
I
their
get it
energy.
now.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
I get it now. It's so different. So I can't
That's so
even
fascinating.
I can't even imagine what the Reiki 3 is going to be like.
You
I
are going to
can't
be
even-
very powerful. I know you are. Your teacher even told you she could feel like that you had absolute
strong energy.
strong energy. I always knew it too. So, and just what you've done with just what you have so far, I can only imagine it's going to be really, really good.
I do love it. I mean, it can be a bit overwhelming at times,
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Absolutely.
but I love it.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And it
that's
really,
great.
Spirit even connects more with me now than before. So it's just been great. And I can heal people. And it's just so special.
I know,
I
it
just
really
feel
is.
so
It's amazing.
blessed that I have this gift. And once you get it, she said, it never goes away. Some people might have to go for attunements, in between
Keep
a
the
little
energies
bit to
balanced
keep it.
and everything.
But I mean, I haven't felt as though I've had to do that yet. I haven't had to go on back for more. But she's like, I'm your teacher for life. You can come back
Oh,
to me
that's
at any
wonderful.
time and get an attunement if you feel like you need it.
Yep. That's great.
And the ceremony is just, it's so magical and spiritual. And I do it in the salt cave. My Reiki master does it
That's
in the
even
salt
more amazing
cave.
because the
and
energy
that-
in there is
Oh, I can't even
such a
tell
healing
you.
energy to begin with.
It's beautiful getting it in the salt cave. It's just amazing. You go in the salt cave and you're in this little cocoon and you just don't want to leave. Like, I just want to stand on my blankie and just stay in the salt cave
And just
forever.
relax in
It
there.
just feels so good,
Aw.
And of course, being empathic definitely helps you with the Reiki and all that stuff. So, learning about that energy. And
Yes.
That's just so cool.
It all goes hand in hand,
Yeah.
So that's why it made sense that was the next step for you to do. Again, you've been talking about doing it for years, so
Yep.
so happy you find the art. It's like you found another calling that you knew you had.
And that's what I said. When you follow spirit, you always end up in the right place because
Yep.
they lead you there. And I think that's who led me to this.
Well, congratulations, Deb, and you're going to be completing the courses very soon. So, Deb, for anyone who doesn't know, you're actually one of the longest-running tour guides at the Lizzie Borden House.
Yep, I've been there about 12 years now.
Wow.
So it was a fast 12 years. And I worked today. So now we're getting into our slow season around Christmas. So my friend Sue and I were there, and we're in the gift shop, and there were no guests. So Sue was like, I want to turn on the spirit box. So we did, and we were just chatting with whomever wished to come through, because the whole property is active, not just the house. And a lot of people don't know this story, but the only other original house on the block is right next door to Lizzie's. So before Mr. Borden even moved in, his uncle lived there with his wife and 3 children, and his wife drowned the children in the well and killed herself in the kitchen.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if a lot of people know that history.
I don't think a lot
They
of
know the
people
Lizzie Borden
do.
story,
Yeah.
but they don't know about that kind of history, so...
Yep.
Right, and the oldest child, Mary, I believe her name was, she survived. So we decided to, and the children are still at the Borden house along with their mom, because it was all one property at one time. And we were asking to speak with the children and then to speak with their mom. And I said, Sue, what was the father's name? And she said his name was Ludwig. I said, Ludwig, are you around? I said, Ludwig. Now, this is the spirit box, mind you. Now, this spirit box goes really fast because it sweeps the radio stations. So you don't get a lot of full sentences. And usually everything comes through so fast that you can't even make out what it said.
Yeah.
But I said, Ludwig, what did your wife do to the children? He said, she put 3 in the well.
Wow.
Clear as day. I looked at Sue and I was like, oh my God, Sue, did you hear that? She's like, yes. She put 3 in the well. It was this guy with a deep voice, and you could make out everything he said. She put 3 in the well.
That is crazy.
That is
I was like so blown away by that. I couldn't even, and of course we weren't recording.
Of course,
but at least
that's when
we
it
were
always
both
happens.
there and we both heard it. But to me, that just amazed me.
To get a full sentence like that,
it still blows me away when I hear something like that come through the spirit box. It just blows me away.
Yeah, that house always has so much activity.
Oh, and this was the gift shop
Yeah.
where the old barn
It's
was.
the whole property.
Yeah, it was just, they're all there. They're just hovering around that house. And
Isn't there another story about a relative of Lizzie's who, I think it was the son had a vision or the mother had a vision and she was related to Lizzie? Or is that a different case I'm thinking of?
this was fascinating. This was the first time that the paranormal was ever allowed to be used at a trial. It was
That's
back
what
in
it
the
was.
1800s.
Really?
And there was a woman, Rebecca Cornell, and she used to sit by her fireplace and smoke her pipe. And they found her dead. She had burned to death, apparently, by the fireplace. And her brother, after she passed, she visited her brother and came to her brother and said, my son killed me. This is how he did it. It was like a stab wound or whatever.
Wow.
So they actually exhumed the body and they found the wound.
No
And
kidding.
they convicted her son and they hung him.
Wow.
I wonder how they
But-
couldn't find that the first time.
I don't know.
But
Who knows, but-
it was back in the 1800s,
Yeah,
so we know
yeah.
how it was crime was back then.
Yeah,
Right.
a lot of
But
unsolved murders.
The odd thing is, her son's wife was pregnant at the time. She gave birth to a baby girl who was Lizzie Borden's, I forget how many greats, but it's like great-great-great-grandmother.
Wow. Okay. See, I knew there was
So
some
murder
connection.
goes
That's what I
way
was
back
thinking
in
of.
that family. You were thinking of Rebecca
Yeah,
Cornell.
that's what I was thinking
Yeah.
of. Wow.
Yep. So that goes way back. Her house is still there. It's actually, you can go and have dinner there.
Really?
No kidding. That's
We
awesome.
need to check that
Yeah,
out.
we
I didn't
certainly
know about
do.
That.
Yeah, I didn't know about
that's
that
right
either.
Up our alley.
Yeah.
And then there's a cemetery. You have to tromp way back through the woods, but I think Rebecca's buried back
That's
there
our
in
specialty.
that
Tromping
cemetery.
through the woods.
Yep.
Go for lunch and tromp through the
Yeah,
woods to the
I know. That sounds
cemetery.
like the perfect date day.
Yeah.
I'm down. You in?
Absolutely.
All right,
That's
we're going.
fun. Yeah, check it out. I heard they have really good food, so
Ooh, I'm excited.
it's pretty cool. And getting back to, hitting things from a different angle. I've started to do that at Lizzie's because we're always asking for Mr. and Mrs. Borden. Well, we talk to them all the time, but what about these other people? So Mr.
What are their connections to everybody? And
So
yeah.
Mr. Trafton was the one who the house was built for. He lived there with his family. His wife died there of consumption. His son died of consumption.
Wow.
I started to talk to them one night. He and his wife were very chatty, and they
wow.
kept coming through, and he will tell you what his son died of.
Really?
And he's very chatty. And then I talked to Ludwig today. I've never thought to ask for him before.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
I never
He
thought of that
came through.
either.
So then Sue and I had an idea. We thought, well, if Ludwig was passed away and he was there at the time of the murders, and the children were there, and the children's mom was there at the time of the murders, maybe they'll tell us what happened. The
Yeah.
Bordens don't want to speak of it. They won't tell us what happened.
Right.
But what if there were these other spirits that were there that saw what happened? Ludwig was more than willing to tell us what his wife did with the children.
That's
Yeah.
very true. I never thought of it that
So-
way.
Opened
Absolutely.
up a whole other view of it.
Right.
Like, who knows what you guys are going to get now that you thought to look further into it.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, because if Ludwig was there, I'm sure Ludwig would come through and tell us what happened in
yeah.
his deep voice.
Well, you heard it here first, folks.
So-
DLH Paranormal, Deb Vickers, they're the first to get into the other spirits there at Lizzie's. Maybe, to get answers from another side of the fence.
Yeah, we'll
you
have
know?
to keep you updated on this.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's going to be a whole new aspect.
Right.
Touching on all these and speaking with all of these other people to get their input on the case because spirit, they were there. They're the only ones who can tell us in person what really happened that day. And it seems as though they want to come through and they want to tell their stories and their aspect of it. So it's a whole different ball game.
We know the children are there.
We know the children are there, and their mom and Mr. Trafton. I think he comes and goes, but I think his wife is stuck there with the two children. But they're the ones that were there at the time of the murders. So I feel like they have answers that no one else would.
Absolutely.
So it's something totally different, I feel like, that could change things, maybe change the case. I think Spirit knows all of these questions and things that we want to solve, and we can use them. Like one of the cases that I've been working on for a while now, and we know something happened at that house and it's a secret, but we don't know what it is. And
Really?
they don't want to, they don't seem to want to come right out and tell us. There's a strange energy, and something happened originally at that house to set that energy off. But what was that something?
It could have even happened on the property, not even just in the house, even just on the property too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is a case you're working on now?
Yeah, this has been a really difficult one because it's affected the child as well, and it's been really difficult. Houses tend to, a friend of mine, her mom worked in real estate, and she said a trend that she noticed, houses have a certain energy, and they attract the same energy over and over and over again. Like a lot of times you'll get a house that always attracts these crazy people. It's the energy of the house that's there that attracts those people.
Wow.
But in this case, it's more the energy of that is already there, and it affects all the people the same that move in.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's so crazy.
And it's tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. And 3 women who have both had the same name have lived there, and they've all had tragedy.
And that's more than a coincidence.
When it happens
Same names.
that many times.
Right.
And
putting the puzzle pieces together backwards.
Yep.
And
you know?
that's in a row. That's 3 times in a row. And it's been tragedy, and they've had to leave the home.
Wow, so you're really tasked with a big thing here to
So-
try to figure out what's going on and
Oh,
everything.
this has been a tough one for me to try and solve.
Yeah.
But my next train of thought was whenever we're just talking, I always run the recorder whenever we're talking. Whenever I do a case and when I first go into interview, I run my recorder because I go back and I always get EVP, and the spirit always chimes in. So my thought was, if I go back, I have a new theory now on what may have happened. So I'm like, what if I go back and we just sit and we talk about my theory and what I think happened, but I run the recorder and then I listen back to see if they chime in. Maybe that'll solve. So again, it brings you back to spirit solving some of those questions.
Yep.
So that's my new theory. That's my new thought anyway. And I may go back and give that a try.
Yeah,
and
I say it's
I mean,
worth-
I don't know if they'll want to, because I think they're just done with that stinking house, like done.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them.
Now, this is the second or third family that actually moved away from this house because of the paranormal activity that was taking place there.
No, not really. This is the first family that's lived there that has realized what's happening.
Okay.
No one else realized because she's an empath. So she knows and she can sense things. And so they're actually the first ones that realized what's going on.
Yep.
Everyone else was just oblivious
And
to
just
what
dealing with
was
the tragedies that were happening to them.
right, not realizing what was causing it was the energy from that house.
So maybe this is the cycle that's finally going to break, you know? That's what you're working on anyways.
Well, I've gotten to the point where I feel like it's so much now, it's not necessarily an entity itself that's causing this, but an energy that's causing it to happen. That's almost formed itself into an entity.
Oh, wow.
But
Kind of
my-
like poltergeist in a way.
Right,
Like,
right.
It's,
Yeah,
almost the
exactly.
same,
it's
yeah.
almost not an actual human spirit, but it's energy that's built up to make like a spirit.
Right.
Right. So, but my question is, what started that energy in motion? If I can get to the root of that, then maybe I can figure out how to stop it from going on.
Now, is that, speaking of poltergeist activity, is that Native American land? Do we know yet, or just
Not
haven't?
that I know of. It
Yeah.
was basically just wilderness, just woods before anything was built. So I don't I don't think so, but then again, you never know.
Right, because they were everywhere.
Because
the
they were
tribes.
everywhere
Yeah, exactly.
way back in the day, so it's possible that they
Everything
could
is
have been,
Native American land in this country, basically.
right.
So yeah.
So I mean, there's a possibility that something like that could have happened there to set it in motion. I don't know.
I got goosebumps just talking about that.
yeah, I
That's really
it's
creepy.
really, really intense. It's very intense. What's happening? I've never seen anything like it in my life.
And that's a lot of the
it's
side
strong.
to the paranormal that I don't think people get to see again because they're so used to the Hollywood movie side of it.
Right.
But there's really families out there that are truly suffering horrible, horrible paranormal activity. And it's nothing like you see in the movies, you know?
No, these entities, they get into your mind. They affect your behavior. And it happens gradually over, it could happen over a year's time, 2 years' time, 10 years' time, but it happens so little and so gradual that you really don't know until, again,
Yeah.
we're going to say it again, you put the pieces together and you kind of tell the story backwards, and then you're like, oh yeah, okay, that's why this happened, or that's why that happened. So, sometimes you don't even know what's happening.
Yeah, like a story that happened to us too. This was a while ago. You'll remember this. Remember when we went to the Lizzie Borden house, we had spent a night there? The next morning we had come home. And it was later in that night, I started to feel really, really exhausted. Like, out of nowhere. Like, I could have fallen asleep right there. I had just made dinner. We were sitting down.
It looked like you were drugged.
Yeah.
Basically.
I felt like I was drugged. I felt like I could have just closed my eyes and slept for a year.
We were sitting at the table eating dinner, and her head just looked like it just wanted to just fall into the plate of food in front of her. And I've never seen her like that before.
No, I always have so much energy. Like, I'm never like that. I don't even nap during the day. Like, and... We were trying to figure it out. I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm coming down with something, or I'm just really tired because we didn't sleep a lot the night before. Like, I'll be okay. And I tried to brush it off. So I remember I went and I said, I'm just going to go take a shower. I got out of the shower. We were in the bedroom now at this point. I remember I was laying on the bed and you were kneeling like in front of it, facing out towards the hallway in our bedroom door. And we were just talking, and all of a sudden we heard a man's voice loud and clear as day go, what did he say, hi or hey?
He said hi.
Hi, that's what it was. He went, hi, and we both of our heads whipped around into the hallway, and, we're the only ones that live here, so we're like, okay, what's going on? You jumped up so fast, and you went running in the hallway expecting to see, like, we thought there was a man standing in
That's
the hallway.
how clear as day it was.
It was so clear.
Wow.
Hi. And then it wasn't until after that I actually started to feel better. Like my energy started to come back. I started to feel normal again. And we had to sit and say, oh my goodness, I was being drained by that spirit. And then he was able to come through and speak with us. Was it someone who came from Lizzie's? Most likely, because we had just left that house and then that happened. So again, the thing with protecting yourself, sometimes you do have travelers that come with you when you leave places. But it's true. Like you don't realize how they're affecting you until something big happens.
Right.
And then you have to go back and look at it and say, oh, wow, that's really, what happened.
I had somewhat of a similar experience a couple weeks ago. We had spent the night at Maplecroft, which is Lizbeth's home that she purchased after the murders, her beautiful mansion. And we just had a girls' night, and we did ghost hunting. And I came home, I was tired, and I went back to sleep about 11 in the morning till 2. But when I laid down to get ready to go back to sleep, now this happens to us sometimes at Lizzie's, like even on our tours, we get someone whisper really loud in our ear. A woman came, I was laying in my bed, came right up to my ear and whispered really loud, "Don't forget me." Just like that.
Wow.
And
She said, "Don't
it was
forget
so loud. So I wasn't sure if it was Lizbeth because she loves us going there and, she enjoys our company because she's still at Maplecroft, or if it was the woman that I've been dealing with at the other house because I haven't been over there in a while. So it could have been either one.
It could have been,
I'm not really sure who that was. But it's crazy when that happens in your own house. You know?
Yeah.
It just...
makes you remember that the spirits are always around you.
Yeah. But it does build up gradually. That's the thing. The woman that's at this house went and spoke with the woman from the other house, and of course she didn't want to talk about anything. So no one wants to talk about things like that. So that didn't really help her any at all.
Right.
But it's terrible what these hauntings can do to people.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, again, the inside of it, that what really can happen with it.
Yeah, and it frustrates me to no end when I can't help people, when I try and try, but it does help them because they know I'm there for them 24/7. They can text me
Exactly. It's that
anytime.
emotional support as well that you're giving them.
Right, and they can text me anytime. So,
Well, that's what I love about DLH Paranormal and yourself, Deb. You're helping these people. These people they don't know where to go. Where do they go in a situation like this? So that's why they come to you. And again, you're very wonderful helping these people. And if you weren't there for them,
Yeah.
where would they be?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't go to the police. You can't go
No.
to and this is where you come in, Deb, and I think that's wonderful. So I think even though the house or any house in general might still have problems, or sometimes you can't solve the whole problem, they're still getting a lot more answers than they would have had before.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
I picked up this book one time. I think I might have read it on my Kindle. I love to read the stories about different real life hauntings. And it was a couple. They're fairly well known now, and they wrote a book back when they were first married. They purchased this home, and it was a horrible haunting. Oh, what these poor people went through. It was terrible. They were actually the first, you watched it with me, Heather, the first televised exorcism on 60 Minutes, which was the new show back in the day. And it was a big deal. And I remember when I read it, I was so affected by it. And I sent him, the author, a message, and he got right back to me. He goes, "Oh, thank you, Deb." He goes, "Keep up the good work." He said, "That's what would have helped us more than anything back then, was for someone to come in and believe us and understand us and support us." He goes, "That really means a lot.
Yeah.
What you do is so important."
Because back then they didn't have anyone like
It was
that to help
back,
them.
no,
Yeah.
that was back probably in the 60s, and there was really not much at all back then. I mean,
No.
it wasn't like it is today.
Yeah,
Right.
it's come such a long
And
way.
people just thought you were crazy, and who do you turn to? There weren't all these different people that you could call or Google or whatever, and you were on your own,
Yeah.
terrified
Yeah, exactly.
basically, because that one was really, really intense. Full-blown apparitions, things moving, voices. I mean, it was really intense.
Yeah.
So Deb, you're actually writing a book of all your cases from the past or your experiences with the paranormal?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. I started it a while ago, like years ago, and I just keep putting it aside. And then I pick it up again. And I started way back in the beginning talking about how the girls and I got started and some of our adventures back then. And then I started to put in some of our casework that we've done, all of our most interesting, exciting cases that we've worked on. So I think people will enjoy it. It's a lot of different aspects. Talks
Absolutely.
about the Lizzie Borden house, and
It's really a journey too, because like you said, you literally started writing this way back when we started getting
Right.
into the paranormal. So it's going to be, I think, interesting to see the way things have changed and the knowledge that
Yes.
you've gained. And I think people are going to really find that fun. It's like
It's almost like
truly
a personal journal.
It's like a personal journal.
yeah,
of
it
yours.
is.
Yeah.
It chronicles our entire life.
It really does,
basically.
everything.
So
Yeah.
it has some interesting aspects.
Yeah, this is going to be exciting. Hopefully you finish it up soon. I mean, I know we're going to keep continuing on our path, but I can't wait to,
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. I think people will enjoy it, and it's going to be different than any of the other books out there.
Yeah.
Because it chronicles our life
Yeah.
along with everything paranormal as well.
And nobody can duplicate your life, so
Right. Exactly.
All right, so Mom, thank you so much for coming on our show. We had so much fun today, just being able to sit down and talk about all things paranormal and things
Totally.
going on in your life. Make sure, everyone, that you look out for my mom, Deb Vickers' new book coming out soon. That's going to be really exciting. And you can keep us updated. We look forward to having you back as well, so you can keep us updated on the new Lizzie stuff that's going on, the new angle that you found with that, and hopefully some happy updates to the cases that you're working on as well. We really hope we can have something coming back with good news there.
yeah, I definitely hope there's some closure for the families.
Yeah.
And see what's happening there.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This
Thank
was
you.
really fun. I had a great time.
Yeah, this has definitely been a treat for us to have you on the show today, so thank you again. Now, how can people reach you if they have questions or if, for any potential cases? Do you have a website?
We do. We have a website, which is dlhparanormal.com. We have an email, which is dlhparanormal@yahoo.com. And we also have a Facebook page. And if you go to my website, we have a phone number as well if you'd rather call us and talk to us. I know everybody feels comfortable in different ways. A lot of people just like to send an email with what's going on, but some people like to talk to a real person. So just, give us a call.
So everyone, that was a really good interview with Deb Vickers. I'm so excited we were able to have her for you guys to hear.
Absolutely.
We really hope you enjoyed listening to her stories, and we can't wait to see what she's going to be doing next. And luckily, I am her daughter, so I get to keep a close eye on everything, so I can keep you all updated how she's doing with her Reiki and her book and everything. And, if you guys ever want more information, just let us know in the comments below. We'll be happy to keep you updated or any answers or anything like that. But we really want to thank you guys once again for coming along with us, and we really hope you enjoyed this podcast today.
So we hope you guys had a great Christmas, and we hope you had a safe and happy New Year. We're now in the year 2020. Got a lot of great stuff coming up for you guys, so we'll see you soon.
See you soon, guys.